Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead and today's episode of Coffee Talk. Today we're going to be discussing end of year reflection as well as how we can use this reflection to help us begin goal setting for the following year. Thank you for joining me today. Grab your coffee, tea, water, whatever it is that you're drinking, and let's dive into this conversation. The first thing I want to acknowledge is that I know this is a really busy time of year for a lot of people, and sometimes we just don't really want to take the time to do the reflection. But I guarantee you, if you take some time to reflect on the previous year, it really is going to help you to develop a plan that's going to move your homestead forward in the following year. The second thing that I want to acknowledge is the reality that your work is never complete. One of the things that I've come to notice as I've been on the homestead is that there are always going to be more projects that need to be done, and there's always going to be something that can be improved or something that can be worked on. And that's not a bad thing. It's just part of the reality of living on the homestead. And so we do have to acknowledge that as we're trying to look at successes and challenges so that we can move forward in our homesteading journey. Sometimes it's easy to overplan. I don't know anyone who might have done that. I hope I'm not the only one. Sometimes I overplan things and I just underestimate how much time it's going to take to accomplish a task. And this can lead me to feeling like big projects never get completed and that I have so much more to do. And sometimes it can actually lead to feelings of overwhelm. Don't let that feeling negate the successes that you have accomplished throughout the course of the year. So the first part of our end of the year reflection is to look at successes. What are some projects that you were able to accomplish this year? Were you able to finish the project or maybe put some preparation into place in order to work on something in the future? Did you learn some new skills this year? Or were you maybe gaining some knowledge on a particular topic in an area, getting ready to take on something new? What are some of the successes that you have had? And then also in reflecting on that, what are some things that you worked on this year that you felt really passionate about? We know that having a passion and a love for things on the homestead is so important. And there are probably different areas that you really resonate with and things that you're really passionate about. And so how can you develop that part of your work on the homestead and maybe accentuate that even more in the upcoming year? What are some things that you spend a lot of time doing that you feel like you would like to spend more time doing? So what are some of the successes that you have had? Let me know in the comments below some of your successes for this year. The second area that we want to focus on as we're coming through this end of the year reflection are some of the challenges that we had. You have to know your personality and kind of where you're at with this, and be very careful that you have acknowledged the successes first and you haven't jumped straight into the challenges. Sometimes it can be easy to see all of the things that have not been accomplished, all of the things that didn't get done, things that were on your wish list. In focusing on that, it causes us to forget to look at the successes that actually occurred. And so I do want to encourage you to look for your successes first, and then look at what were some of the challenges that occurred during the course of the year. Did you, like me, overplan things and maybe underestimate how much time it would take to complete a task? Is there something that maybe should have been broken down into smaller steps? Maybe you had this big grandiose idea of what you were going to accomplish, but it was hard to try and do that thing because there were so many small steps along the way. And so are there some areas where maybe you need to break the task down into smaller steps so that you're not feeling paralyzed and feeling like you can't even get started because it's just too overwhelming? Why did some things not get accomplished? Was it a lack of time? Was it because you didn't have the materials or the skills? What were the reasons why some of the things that you had planned didn't get accomplished? Or was it just too many things on the task list and that's why. Did you take on too many new projects? Sometimes we have this idea that we have to do all the things at one time, and maybe you started a bunch of brand new things, and in the upcoming year, it'll be a good time to go ahead and scale some of those things back so that you can focus and really work on one of those things instead of a whole bunch of different things. So take a look at some of those challenges, and as you're looking at those challenges, really think about the why behind it. Why was it a challenge? And that's going to help you to set your goals for the future and make those goals more achievable so that you can find more successes in the upcoming year. As I've been kind of looking back at some of the challenges that I've had over the course of the year at the homestead this year, I am reminded that no matter how big my challenges seem right now, they're not near challenge or the depth of what the people in the Midwest are facing right now. People in Kentucky and the other states that have been ravished by the tornadoes are facing challenges beyond anything that I can imagine. And as I've just looked at the videos and the pictures of that devastation there, especially in Kentucky, some of the areas in Kentucky have just been hit so hard. It makes me realize that no matter what challenges I might have had here on the homestead, it's nothing compared to what those people are facing right now. And so, you know, I don't know, it kind of tugs at my heartstrings a bit because I can't even imagine trying to go through that kind of a situation, and where do you even begin to try to clean things up and to try to move forward in that type of a situation. So I'm not in a position where I'm able to go back and physically donate my time to be able to help on site, but I have been looking for ways that I can be a part of helping in that recovery process. And so I'm gonna leave a couple of links down in the description below. If you haven't already given to that and you have the ability to be able to do that, there are a couple of relief funds that I have linked down below. One of those is Grindstone Ministries, and from what I've seen, they really are doing a lot of great work there. Their main mission is to help clean out debris and try and help people rebuild in those areas that are affected by disasters. And from everything that I've seen, they're doing a great job with that. And so I'll leave their link down below. And then the second place that I'll link to is the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund. And I don't know anything about this charity directly, but I do know that the Kentucky governor was referencing this as a place that people could send donations to try and help with the relief effort there in Kentucky as well. I'm sure that there are many other great organizations that are out there helping to provide relief. These just happen to be two that I'm aware of, and so I wanted to provide those links down below. Returning to the topic of reflection and how to use this reflection to help us moving forward, we want to go ahead and take those items that were successes and take those items that were challenges and use this information to help you set smart goals moving forward. Sometimes when I goal set, I don't know if you run into the same thing, but sometimes I have way too big of a goal. It's too broad. It doesn't have any sort of focus, and so it seems like you're perpetually working towards that goal, but you never make any progress because it's not specific enough. And so we want to set something called SMART goals. If you haven't heard of these before, they're just goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is going to help you to be able to stay more focused and stay on track for the things that you want to do. So a great way to be able to utilize these goals might be to set 1 to 3 goals in the first quarter of the year. Sometimes I set goals for the whole entire year, but I have found, at least for myself, that it's too far of a distance, and again, the project gets too big and then it doesn't get accomplished. So some of those larger projects, it really does help if you can break it down into smaller pieces, and that way you can set a shorter period of time that you're going to achieve that smaller chunk, and then by the time you get to the end of the year, you have more likelihood of having achieved the larger task that would have seemed overwhelming if you just had the whole year to work on this one big thing. So setting smaller SMART goals for a smaller amount of time is going to really keep that focus and keep you moving forward as you are trying to work towards these goals in the new year. Time passes by so quickly, and if we're not careful and we aren't setting goals, it's easy to just have the whole year pass and you've just kind of been doing the same thing over and over, and maybe you haven't moved forward in the way that you wanted. That's why I think that setting goals is such an important part, and why even though it's a difficult time of year to try and carve out some extra time with all the hustle and bustle of the holidays, I think it really is important to spend that time so that you can move forward in the future. I hope this year was a good one for you, and I really thank you for coming along and joining me for these weekly coffee talks. I hope that as we move into 2022, it will be your best year yet, and that you and your family will be able to accomplish all that you set out to do. If you got value from today's video, please remember to click like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you back here next time. Bye everyone.